What's up, music fans of the internet? I'm Kevin.
I'm Derek.
And together we are last week's album, where we're bringing you two opinions on the best new music. And in this episode, we're reviewing Sufjan Stevens' Carrie and Lowell, and we're answering the big question, what happens when this imaginative artist decides to focus on reality for a change? But before we get into all that heavy stuff, we're going to kick things off like we always do, drinking a beer. Cheers, Derek, and everyone at home.
Cheers, Kevin, everyone at home.
And I'll start with a little background on the album for you. If you're not familiar with Sufjan Stevens, this is his seventh studio album. The title refers to his mother and stepfather. Most of this album revolves around his relationship with his mother. She actually passed away in 2012 and was absent for most of Sufjan's life. And a little bit of the album deals with his stepfather as a character, Lowell, who was sort of the opposite of that, was someone that was there for him, and who's actually the manager of Sufjan's record label, Asthmatic Kitty, which is the label that he's continued to self-release via, including this album. So let's talk about what it sounds like. Derek, what do you think?
Kevin, I think Carrie Lowell sounds like stories of life, loss, love, death, lots of death, over rich indie folk sounds.
Yeah. It is not a light album, if you will, on the subject matter. I think it sounds like an acoustic goodbye to someone you lost but never really knew. And let's talk about some key tracks with that. I'm going to go with number 2, Should Have Known Better. What about you, Derek?
I'm going Eugene, which is the 5th track on the album. And I'm going to kick us off because we're not going in chronological order there. Eugene is really kind of a brief song. It really, clocks in at a shade under 2.5 minutes. From an overall sound perspective, it's really focused on this intricate acoustic guitar riff. They're just hushed vocals. Part of it is falsetto, kind of adding some emphasis to the lyrics here. The first few verses lyrically are vivid depictions of going to his stepfather's place there in Oregon, in Eugene, a la the track title. And at one moment kind of mentions how Lowell couldn't pronounce his name, Sufjan's name, for a while, which is kind of a passing moment of humor on the album. There were some kind of here and there, but really the very vivid depictions kind of create these, create a relatable landscape here. And at the end, the focus kind of shifts towards his reaction to his mother's death. In a really poignant last verse, he says, "What's left is only bittersweet. For the rest of my life, admitting the best is behind me. Now I'm drunk and afraid, wishing the world would go away. What's the point of singing songs if they'll never even hear you?" You know what, Sufjan? We're hearing you here at least.
Touche. That we are. And now we're reviewing you. I'm going to go with key track number 2, Should Have Known Better. It's a little brighter, I would say, sonically, but still dealing with some heavy stuff. We've got twinkling guitars, some dreamy vocals, spooky church choir backing vocals. The lyrics describe sort of refusing to grieve. He says, "No, I'm not a go-getter. The demon had a spell on me. My black shroud, captain of my feelings, the only thing I want to believe." Later, it kind of shifts, though, into this much, more hopeful space. We get some synth tones, percussion loop, really subtle banjo, and all that together starts to lighten things up as the song lyrically also shifts from gloom to hope. And just a really nice sort of thematic tie together as that song does shift and starts in one place and ends in a much, maybe not much, but a little bit brighter space. So a nice little shift song there for you if you're into that. And if you're into lyrics, that's what we're going to talk about next. Derek, what do you have for your best lyric?
My best lyric comes from a track called "The Only Thing," and I like what you're just kind of talking about there because this particular key lyric is coming from kind of the brighter upside. This song really kind of starts out him kind of recalling reasons why he would not do self-destructive things. But then here at the end, there's really kind of a brighter moment. I really dug it. He says, "The only reason why I continue at all, faith and reason. I wasted my life playing dumb. signs and wonders, sea lion caves in the dark, blind faith, God's grace, nothing else left to impart. So there are some brighter, more optimistic, uplifting moments here, and this is one of them I really liked.
Sure. I, however, chose one from the song 4th of July, and the line goes, "The evil it spread like a fever ahead. It was night when you died, my firefly. What could I have said to raise you from the dead? Or could I be the sky on the 4th of July?" And I thought that was this really perfect mix of reality and fantasy, both sort of heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time as well. So definitely dug those lines. And that brings us to overall rating and the big question: what happens when this imaginative artist decides to focus on reality for a change? So Derek, what's your answer and what's your rating?
What's my answer? What happens when it gets personal? You know, that's a very good open-ended question. I think here, I think good things happen, and maybe some less than good things happen. But overall rating, I'm going to kind of get to those as I discuss kind of my overall rating, which is a 3 out of 5. The good, I think, you know, Sufjan's always been a great storyteller, and that clearly continues to be the case, even though, you know, the focus of his stories shift towards the more personal. Although at times, you know, there are very big shifts or range of emotions he evokes here. It can be kind of tough to follow. But at the same time, that as an aside, I think the complex emotions associated with these stories are mirrored very well musically throughout, kind of creating a lot of rich textures, just a lot of contrast, even in Eugene, as I mentioned earlier, kind of this sparser instrumentation that was contrasted against this really, you know, much larger content-wise lyrics in that one. You know, I think overall it's kind of hard to listen to just because these are so deeply personal and emotional. But at the same time, I think he does it in as an emotional way as you might be able to tell these stories.
Interesting. I'm going to agree and disagree with some of that. Overall rating-wise, I'm going to give this one a 2 out of 5. I know a lot of reviewers and blogs and press are calling this an amazing work of intimacy, and that I think it is, but I don't think it's an amazing album. Sufjan himself has said that this is not a work of art. This is purely autobiographical. And so for me, yeah, it kind of falls short when I try to measure it as a piece of art. It felt like a lot of slow acoustic ballads with not much inventive to say, not much inventive to hear. I think it's very therapeutic for Sufjan when he bases himself in reality as opposed to the more imaginative catalog of work behind him. But I think it's very trying for listeners. And I don't know, for someone who's made this career of experimenting in like grand gestures, I expected something like that, you know? Give me something. And it's all very, very somber and slow and not much variety. So I just found it too personal to connect with personally. So there you have it. A 3 out of 5 from Derek, 2 out of 5 for myself. That'd be a 5 out of 10. It's definitely worth listening to. You may have a very different opinion, as lots of people do. So yeah, take a listen and let us know what you guys think. Don't forget to subscribe to us here at Last Week's Album, where we're bringing you 2 opinions on the best new music. And we'll see you next time, guys. As always, I'm Kevin.
I'm Derek.
Cheers.